We're live. Just trying to set some levels here. And I want to thank you for joining me. I'm Nate Miller from DigiFX, and today we're doing something really fun here. In front of me I have an empty desktop, but that will soon change. I'm trying to organize everything on a small little MacBook, broadcast, and then also we get the Magic Leap streaming live. So a lot of fun stuff today, guys. I want to thank you for joining me. It's a little bit of a different switched gear. I usually do stuff development within the applications for mobile, specifically with using. And actually, this music's kind of distracting here. Let's go ahead and turn that off, or lower it at least a little bit. And so, anyways, I want to do something different. I've really been diving into using my Magic Leap in multiple platforms, along with just figuring out the different tools. So here in front of me we have the lab, which is their newer version of like the resources they give you. And so today we're going to play around with the device stream, work with Epic a little bit with the Magic Leap, along with dive into what I've been doing with Unity, the hub here, which is what I've been building a lot of my mobile stuff off of. And I also need to create some stuff in Runtime Editor here, that is specifically the 3D icons you see within the Magic Leap. And so we'll play around with all these different things and see what we can get done. But on top of that, I do have some stuff I've already built. I am creating an immersive escape room. I call it Island Escape. And it is based off of the Oasis Live game that I have, the mobile game that I've been built to Apple earlier this year, early in 2020, which we will soon be releasing new updates with geolocation and more fun stuff in the upcoming months. I know I keep on saying that, but there's a lot to do, and there's a lot going on in the world, which has been distracting me from really getting the stuff done I need to succeed in the different projects we started. So a little bit of a, not a sidetrack here, but more of a different industry with a newer and what I think is a cool device. I'm really love the Magic Leap, along with the other AR goggles out there. And we do know that they took a pivot from more the business and commercial industry. And what I'm creating is kind of like that, somewhere between gaming and something you can offer as a experiential service to somebody someday. So I hope you guys enjoy what we bring to the table today. And if you have any questions and concerns, or you want to reach out and ask kind of what we're doing and learn more, I will leave my email and number in. It's all around really, but you'll find it somewhere in the video on the end of the stream here. So first things first, let's go ahead and just think about what we want to start with today. Well, what I can do is kind of show you what we've been doing within Unity here. So, but before I do that, real quick, if you're not familiar with Oasis Live, take a look at our app right now. Okay, so that's just a quick look at what it looks like on the mobile version, and I just wanted to throw that in there before we dive into the actual Magic Leap stuff, so you'll get some kind of reference to where I'm getting the theme and the style of gameplay from within the Magic Leap. So I do have a demo built out, and there's two ways we can do this. So I can either stream live on the Magic Leap and share it within the portal here in this device stream, but I find that, it's probably just because I'm using a MacBook Pro here versus an actual desktop streaming PC. But I find it's better if I record in the device and then play it back, and I can even upload it within to YouTube directly, and then share it while I stream live on a different channel. So a lot of cool little connections and network bridges in places with the Magic Leap that we can play around with media while we create, and also development in unison. So I'm going to try to figure out the best means, and figure out what works, play it back, and then we can try to prove upon it next time we go ahead and do something fun here. So in front of me, with that being said, what I want to do today is I want to create a three-stage escape room. And you can't really see much here. You just see this gateway. And then this dragonfly actually should be in the beach here. And I will say I'm super, super picky about being organized with my games. And this hierarchy here isn't really organized. I pulled a lot of resources in from Magic Leap's tools, development tools they have here, the SDK kit. And so this stuff's kind of named in their convention. And I want to stick to very similar what I did with Oasis Live in terms of the mobile stuff, in terms of my other build I have here. So I will eventually fix this and move it around and get everything organized to where I know where stuff is. I can duplicate and mass produce stuff in real time. But if I can just zoom in here, this is just a little sign that I found earlier on the internet, and it's just referencing or a little kiosk here, and we can put some video in there, and then there's a button we can press in space using the input tools with the Magic Leap. So I'll show you guys that in a second, because that's probably what you're more interested in, actually seeing what that looks like versus in the actual game interface. But give me a couple of minutes just to get my bearings straight and figure out where I left off. Yeah, so already that's why I was in the wrong one. I was confused for a second because I had 3 kiosks that I had made, and I only saw 1 there, but that was because I had opened up the wrong level when I started this last night. So we'll see how this does. I have to say I am excited about that YouTube fixed the stream relationship with the actual OBS here. So it seems to stream a lot better than it did when you had to connect on both sides. I'm getting a lot more quality playback here. And so I'm happy with that. It means I don't have to go out and figure out how to do this on my Power PC, which I will eventually do because we're going to do a lot of VR stuff, specifically the Unreal Engine. I'm going to focus on the VR. And that's going to require a lot of higher end hardware that you don't really want to work on a MacBook. But the beauty of this setup is that everything I have in front of me that I'm working in live fits in a backpack, minus the green screen, which is just a collapsible one. So it's very, it's very nice to have that feeling that you can go and broadcast and share your work with people wherever you are in the world, and say you were just on a business trip or you have to work remotely somewhere. If you have that internet connection and that power distribution you need, I'm using about 3 or 4 plugs here, 120, just 4 outlets, and you can really do what you want and you can share it, and it's part of the fun. And I think that's really where the world is starting to go in terms of work ethic and best practices. And I'm lucky enough to have been doing this kind of stuff before the whole pandemic got into place, so I kind of figured out how I could set my development environment up to go and be on the run, so I can be different places. And I've only been reinforcing it now that the world's kind of figuring out ways to communicate and share their work in a more remote digital space. So with that, not just the environment we have here, but also the hardware we're using and what we can do with that, there's a very powerful dynamic that you can get out of using these hardware devices. Now, maybe Magic Leap, HoloLens are a little bit too big and bulky for the masses to embrace, but in the next few years, you're going to expect to see smaller glasses. We know there's the Nreals, and there's other glasses coming out that are more affordable, that are what I call casual visual extensions or hardware that will be more appealing to people that worry about their walking around with something like this. Not to mention, I got to be completely honest. When I built this hardware, or when I built this environment out, I was really thinking that I could walk around on large scale outside, and the Magic Leap, to be honest, is engineered better if you're indoors with average light, this everyday light, like nothing special, no lighting, and so that kind of defeats the purpose of building something outside unless you can fix the lighting and the backdrop you'd have to see. And that's, I think, where VR, Oculus VR, Quest, or something like that would probably do a better job outside and with the sensors. But with that being said, if you had like a way to dim down the lighting to where you can actually see the stuff being, and you illuminate it on the lens to where it's not fizzled out from the real world light, specifically like a big tent or a big room, then there's endless opportunities to make like escape room stuff, which is what I'm doing here, or things that require you to walk around and be in an environment that is bigger than just a 10 by 10 or 20 by 20 foot space like I'm in now. But with that being said, what I've built with this environment, this is in the real world around 500 by 500 square feet that you can walk around with. And the fun thing here is that compared to the phone stuff I've been using, when you're wearing this headset and you're walking around and it's 500 by 500, you can really think about ways to create an immersive environment where you can go to different places and it becomes a real world adventure, scavenger hunt, whatever you want to call it, in a digital form. And so that's what I'm really excited about in terms of the interactive aspects of what these are capable of. And I think there's tons of verticals and opportunities in the future, whether it's business, gaming, entertainment, health, you name it, with immersive technology. And that's nothing new, and what I'm saying isn't something we don't already know and we're not seeing. But what's exciting now is that we're starting to figure out ways to deploy these experiences. And so my angle right now specifically is taking all the stuff I did with the mobile stuff and then bring it into the hardware that I own, specifically a Magic Leap, and then do the same thing with like a HoloLens and other devices along with other devices, and really just push out the brand that I'm creating in different places versus so I'm sticking to more of the interactive entertainment gaming aspect of it, but Oasis Core, the platform itself, when we step back in the mobile stuff, is more than just that. It does all kinds of things for many industries. It is not just about entertainment. There's some value you get out of it in terms of helping people and creating opportunities and delivering data in ways. It's just essentially the hardware that you use to deploy it. So anyways, that's my spiel about AR and where it is. So back to what we were talking about here. And so what I did here was I just need to open up my first scene. And once I do that, you'll see I have 3 screens here. And then what I'll do real quick is I'll actually build these out to the Magic Leap, and I'll show you what it looks like, and we'll stream, because that probably really would be the more funnest part to be the most fun, engaging first-time look at this versus seeing it on the screen. So imagine we're right here, and what's nice about the Magic Leap development is that it's pretty, with the SDK stuff they give you, is pretty straightforward. I will say the downside, you're working directly with the game engine versus there's a lot more third-party stuff you can do with mobile because it's been around longer, specifically using visual scripting engines, right, or rapid development tools we call them, and ways to create large-scale interaction and logic without having to script everything. And so with that, there is some stuff with the Magic Leap here, but it is all pretty, just regular CS, C# scripts and JavaScripts to get the job done here. So it's a slower development pace, but it's also a little bit more complicated using hardware that's requires a little bit more feedback and input to get stuff done. So I'm not going to go through this stuff because this is all pretty much, this has all been kind of generically templated through Magic Leap, the resources they give you on their site. I may have moved some stuff and named some stuff around, like just like this is a regular event system. I just formatted to look like it, and again, that's just me just trying to align the organization here. But the camera itself only really has one special script on it, and it's this Magic Leap script, which I have not touched. So these messages here, just here they are. Well, I take that back. It also has this behavior script here and a collider for when you're reacting to a trigger mechanism here. And this it looks like this is something that, this is also a pose driver. So these things are just unique to the template. But besides that, I'm just doing whatever I would do in a regular Unity build here. So because my Magic Leap is plugged in to my hub here, and I can just another cool thing I really love about this, and this is you can do this for all hardware devices, but I tend to build out to mobile when I use like my iPhone. I'll just actually build it out and load it in Xcode and run it that way. But with this, I can just come in here and I can build and run this, and it's because everything's the same. And and I'll show you here. Oh, that's my stream. Let's see if I can find it. Well, because I have a MPK file built out to the desktop, it's just overwriting or saving a new version of this here. So I don't have to really save it out over and over. I just have to kind of let it push the new version, and so it allows for me to just make small little updates, wear the headset, make a fix, tweak it, and something that's fun to do in terms of development. A lot more appealing to develop and create in versus having to build it and then upload it to a device. So it should work here. Looks like it's just caching some stuff, and it tends to take a little bit longer when I do all this streaming, but I do have to say that the stream is working good today, which is nice. Thank God something's working. So, just a little update here. We are streaming from stream.digiviewstudios.live. This is this apparent umbrella. I wouldn't really call it an umbrella, but it's basically just a site that I'm going to host all our creative entities and partnerships that we have with the different things we create. And so that's taking me a magic leap, which is not where I wanted to go. Stream. Oh. Okay, it's because I am streaming and that's in the background. That's why I was like, why is it showing me that? Because I was showing that when I was streaming at that point. But essentially, if I just go to Digi Studios is what I meant to say. That is the regular site here. And give it a second. And then you can access a lot of this different stuff we do. DigiFX is kind of the bread and butter of everything, but I've also started building out other aspects of the industry. Digi 3D is going to be kind of like an asset library / tutorial / you name it, just like they have all the assets and all the collection of all the 3D assets, versus DigiFX is more of the visual experience, and just creating more of a focus around the different companies here. All right, so as you can see, we are building out that. So what I'll do while we do that is I will launch let's see if this works. So sometimes I'm going to take off let me just make sure that sometimes I forget to turn my mic on and I talk for like an hour and nobody hears anything and it ruins the whole stream. So I have to check to make sure I don't do that. All right, so now I am in the Magic Leap, and it is live, it is working fine. So what I'll do here is I will just connect the stream here. So what I find with this works the first time you open it up and you connect the device, but if you pause it and you try to start it again, it gives me an error. I don't know if that's just my device, the setup, or something configured in my Magic Leap here, but it does give me an error. So what's cool about this view is you'll be able to see what I see through the Magic Leap. And it should work. Let's give it a second. Let's see here. But like anything, it's also some building out this. So maybe what we should do is we should wait, and I'll share with what I see here. Okay. Another thing to note, I am using in terms of the fundamentals of this is 2019.3 build Unity, and then it's using the SDK version 0.24. So for anybody that's developing, I had some issues where I didn't align the SDK or the right versions up, and it wasn't building out, and then my certificates weren't lined up. So there's something to think about. Okay, so like I said, sometimes this doesn't want to work, and unfortunately, I don't know if that's just my computer that's causing that, or if it's just something that. Okay, so what I need to do is let Unity build, because Unity is pretty much power hog right now, but it is building out the experience, and I'm pretty sure it's the same one I have on here. So we'll just let that happen for a second. So while it's doing that, I'll come over here and I'll just talk a little bit about the Magic Leap portal creation. So one thing I want to do today, which we're going to do at some point, portal creation. One thing we have to do is create, no, that's not right. It's a portal icon, I'm sorry, that's what it is. Portal icon creation Magic Leap. Okay, there it is. So this I thought would be a little bit more straightforward. And then I got into this and I was like, wow. This is going to take some time. So I didn't find any YouTube videos on this. So I thought it'd be cool to stream maybe how to do this together. I did download this. I do have Maya, and I can install I can install the plugin that it has here. And that's pretty much how far I read into it. And then you have to open up where it got a little bit, I was tired. I was like working on other stuff when I was doing this, but where it got a little bit tricky is when you had to open up the actual tools here within the lab to upload it and to get it approved. And I was like, oh, I'm going to save this for another day. So again, my lab seems to be, oh, there we go. Okay, so let's just force close it. And Unity is working, even though it says it's not working. It just takes so much processing power to build that out that it just thinks it's frozen there, but it is working because I can tell by this is changing shape. So let's try to open up lab again, the lab. At some point too, we are going to mess around with Unreal and build out a Magic Leap experience to Unreal Engine. I am using Unreal more for the VR aspects because I do want to do more AAA style stuff there. But what I mean by AAA is platform level graphics and experiences, and that is I'm going to really dive into Unreal in the new year when they come out with the new engine, and so that's going to be VR. It is going to use Magic Leap. It's going to use all the different devices, just like we are doing with Unity. My strategy is basically to use Unity for the mobile and the Magic Leap for this kind of stuff through Oasis, and then we'll build in some more higher end experiential, like graphic intensive stuff with PowerPCs on the Unreal side. And that's how I'm going to break up the different entities, because I want to work with both engines. That's really important to me, and they both have values to them and similarities in different areas, and they overlap. And so I think the big thing is to kind of know all the technologies and embrace them all for what they are. So we'll work with Epic a little bit later today. But this is the runtime editor we're going to use to create the icon later. So let's try this one more time. Let's see if I can get this streaming here. All right. Okay, so it's asking me, so just for a second here, I'm going to actually unplug, and it's asking me to scan, build out my room here. So what I'll do is I'll just scan the room, and then I'll be able to walk around and so they have a different setup than I usually do today. All right. So it's also cool. I can just plug the Magic Leap in there, and then it just kind of connects and likes Unity. All right, so Unity's almost done. So let's just let that build it out and see if me unplugging it screwed that up. Because if it did, I'll just show you the build I already have. But that's as simple as it is to build an environment to the Magic Leap for development in real time. Now the big thing is here, you'll get all the way through the build, and then what will happen is it won't actually build if there's scripts that are giving errors. And usually council will give you feedback on that. You'll get saying this doesn't work, but sometimes it just won't build and you won't get anything. Over here we got a build error, but I'm pretty sure that's because I unplugged it to scan right there. So that was probably my fault. Let's see what it says. Yeah, so it's because I unplugged it. So what I'll do here is I'll just say, I'm not going to worry about that. I'm just going to show you guys what I built out yesterday, which is the same thing, that we can just do this. But that's the process, and when we make some changes, we'll have to sit through that again. And hopefully it won't take too long. So let's try to stream now. So the very first thing I would do is let's just go and see if we have it plugged in, and it doesn't see, the bridge doesn't see it right now. So let's make sure that we start it. Okay. All right, so it looks like it's just something with the Magic Leap there. Okay, so it's saying incompatible charger here. When you use dongles, okay, let's see here. Let's try again. Close the lab, and we'll open up the lab. Okay, so the Magic Leap is connected. Everything's connected here. Stream audio is set up. Yeah, so between the lab and this Unity, it has problems playing nice sometimes, but get this to work. So this get a little bit warm on your head along with all the lights, so that's the only reason why I take it off, because I don't necessarily have to sit with it while we load stuff. All right. So whenever you try to connect to the device, just working, what the hell? I just had it working before I started the stream, which is why it's annoying when I do this. Come on, what are you doing? Why is it not reading the device? Alright, so it's not reading the Magic Leap here, which doesn't make any sense. Okay, so what I'm going to do real quick is I'm just going to restart the Magic Leap. All right, so I'm gonna take a 5-minute break, get this figured out, and then I'll come right back. So stick with me. Just give me 5 minutes. I'll get this up and running, and then I'll come back. So just gonna pause it for 5 minutes. Okay, so I was making a crucial error. I was plugging into the wrong USB-C, and because I have two in here, one's for the controller, and one was for the other one, and they have the same port, and I just forgot that that one was there, so I need to throw it behind the computer. So as you can see now, we have a connection here, and so that was just a silly little error of me plugging in the wrong port, wondering why it was not connecting, and that's also why it wasn't built in Unity. So nothing more than just a user error. And so what we can do now is we can start the device stream, and all I have to do is make sure I accept that, and it should come right in here. All right, good. So we're actually streaming now. So if you're not familiar with the Magic Leap, it's pretty much it uses Lumen's OS, which is developed by Magic Leap, I believe. And so this is just my living room, and there's a bunch of outdoor stuff over there. But you see we have this interface. And forgive me, the stream is pretty bad. So what I probably will do is I'll probably record what we're showing now, and then I'll just play it back in the video within the computer versus streaming this, and you'll see a lot better versus the delay here. But what we can do is we can just go into our Island Escape app right here, and so what I want to do is actually create an icon that replaces the default one. You see that we have there? And so we'll let that load up, and then I can look around here. Now, unfortunately, because there's a lot of stuff in here, like screens, everything's augmented on top of my screen, so it's not the best way to show it. But what I can do here is I know I can go here and I can turn off the mixed reality. And what that will do is it will give you the 3D only, which you don't really see the room, and this is more like a VR minus an environment, but it will give us a feel for what stuff looks like here. So first thing you'll notice is that my hands are, I don't even know if you can see my hands. Oh, that's right, it keys out my hands here. But what I'm doing is I'm holding up my hands, and you can see with that I now have controllers, and my fingers actually act like controllers here. So that's a pretty cool thing. And so I can reach out in real space where that button is, and I can press that, and then I can create an environment. So what I've done here, if I step back, is I've created 3 kind of kiosks that go to 3 different areas, and the one in front of us is the one we're going to actually press, and the other 2 of the levels we're going to add today. And so I'll just go ahead and reach forward, and I'll do this slow enough to where the stream actually shows what I'm doing here. You can see I'm just looking at my hand, and then I can just reach into the button, and it'll turn green, and the Magic Leap knows the distance, and then it will show me the level we're in here. So I will say that the audio that I am using here I should turn that down. So the audio I'm using here is something I just borrowed off the theater, so I'm actually going to mute that so that I don't get in trouble for using it. But this is just a first look at like the environment, what we're building out here. So this is pretty straight, a simple environment. There's not much to show here, and it's pretty far away, but you can see we have different parts of the level that we can look around, and everything's in real space, and we can propagate this in the real world. So what I want to do today is I want to create I've shown you this. I actually want to create the gateway or the path that gets you to the other levels. And just like in the actual mobile game, what we're going to do is we're going to create a beanstalk that goes up to the Sky Island, and then we're going to create something that goes down to the ocean, to the sea level. So that's going to be pretty fun, I think, because we're actually going to see how we create not only a immersive world on one level, but stack 3 of them in an immersive world and be able to move back and forth within real space. The one thing I will say here, and I'll show you real quick, is that You know, I have a feeling this isn't streaming anymore because it's been looping this, hasn't it? Unless I press this right now. Yeah, so I didn't realize that it stopped streaming and it seems to be looping it, unless it's just really, really delayed from what I'm talking about here. Yeah, it might just be super delayed. Okay, so I think I'm about to press the button here. Yeah, I think this is when I was talking about pressing the button. It's just really, really, really slow. So if you're just seeing this now, I was just talking about this, you know, a few minutes ago. And so that's my hand. And let me go ahead and just turn off this. Yeah, it looks like it's actually not working here, like usual. So what I'll do is I'll actually try recording in here and then uploading it to YouTube and showing you that way. That's a pretty fun way to do it. So to do that, to record, you just hold down the home button and tap the top bumper here. And now I get the option within the headset, and unfortunately it's not letting me stream anymore to share that with you. But it says it is. Okay, so I don't know what's going on with that. But I'm gonna record. So what I'll do is I'll just record the. Okay. It's not letting me record either. So. Okay, we got out of the device. Let's see if we can restream from there. Maybe I can only record while I'm not broadcasting. That's probably the way. It probably makes sense. But hopefully, you will see what I see. Okay, you do. Excellent. So, here we are in our island escape level, and you can see I'm using a flat plane here, and that's just, let me see if I can actually lift the green screen up a little bit, see what I'm looking at. Okay, so you can see there's a flat plane in front of us, and that's just so I can, when I build all the animation out, I just know it lays flat when we anchor it. Eventually I can't put an arch to the ground, but the actual NPCs that are moving around here need to stay in a flat plane for the nav mesh laid out. It's not really actually the nav mesh. The nav mesh can do angles, but it's just how you land it or place it in the real world. That's important. So it's a lot of empty space here. This is a big level. I'm going to put a lot of stuff in the middle. But you can see I just have a boat over there, and we have a stage, and there's some other stuff back there. But the key thing is here is that you're going to be able to walk around and negotiate and find stuff that you can interact with. So one cool thing we can do is put thumbs up here, and what that does is now it gives us tools. And oops. And so these are coming directly. This whole system's coming directly from Magic Leap. It's available for anybody to use. I've just taken a couple of objects and updated them, and you can see the actual texture on this beach volleyball is. The normals aren't correct, and I have to fix that. And so it should actually let me grab it. There we go. So now we can grab the beach ball, and the beach ball has gravity. So when I let go of it, it should fall. Yeah, it does. And versus the box here, which doesn't have gravity, you can also grab. I'm having issues grabbing it, but I can also hit it. There we go. Grab it a little bit, and so you can let go, and then again you can make a fist, and you can hit it, and you can do stuff. And I can grab this pickaxe here. What we got here? I will say the lighting I think is affecting that, and also all the stuff have processing power. So it's a little bit tricky working with these hand, using your hands to track versus the actual. I think the control is actually preferable. In terms of this does a lot better job, and I would actually recommend this stuff like with this axe you can hit. See, I am hitting that with the axe, so it has a physical force. But the way I grab it is really kind of funky. You can see it moving around in the axis in the real world space. So I think it's actually better to program with the controller to do this kind of stuff, and use the engagements like the points for maybe just simple touches like buttons or levers or things that don't require kinetic motion. Kinetic motion really needs to work with something that has a hardware counterpart and sensors that can relate to the computer. It just does a better job. And so, again, these are just some of the tools. I can reset them. Again, it's all default. And I can use these to essentially do stuff there. So you knock the hammer and it's kind of floating in space. So that's kind of the interactive parts of the escape room that we're going to work with. We're going to work with stuff you can hit, buttons you can touch, and things you can throw. That box over there in the distance is there's a delay on the stream, but that is something you can break, and then that gives you something that will help you get somewhere. So all stuff to think about when we are building out the immersive experience on the Magic Leap. So I'm going to go ahead and just come back into Unity real quick, and we're going to put the Magic Leap down for a second. And I'm going to check my levels here. Okay, bring that down. Broadcast, besides the plugin issue, is going a lot smoother than it usually does for me. Usually my setup can't handle all this, so I'm actually happy it's doing that today. So, put our headphones back on, get back into our broadcast mode, turn the audio back up, and I can hear myself now. There we go. Okay, so those are our 3 gateways. So what I want to do now is I want to add the other 2 to the Magic Leap, right, to the scene right there. And so there's a few ways we can do this, and I tried this both ways yesterday, and we're going to try them both ways today. The issue I was having when I was building to a new scene, which is probably what you're going to do in terms of save RAM and runtime experience, is when I would load a new scene, the input manager, the actual thing you saw with the hand visualizer that I was just showing, that doesn't seem to load with the new scene. Or it might have just been it was getting corrupted in the load. Maybe the 2 scripts were loading and it was corrupting it somehow, but basically it would stop working when I would go into the new scene versus this scene when I would just bring in the beach scene or enable it, and I would just hide the kiosk and destroy it. It was working fine, and that's what I was just showing you, the main scene. So what we need to do is we have to input the 2 scenes. First we'll input them in this scene, we'll see how it runs, and then more than likely we're going to want to separate them because you don't really want to run all those assets in real time. You want to load them when you need them, and essentially you want to break up these things into levels. But we'll see how it goes. I haven't done any performance testing or on this, and in my other build I have the memory profile, and there's also tools within Unity where you can actually you can test and see how much energy and stuff you're using. The profile right here, but I'm just gonna build stuff out, see if it breaks, and if it doesn't break, improve upon it. If it does break, take away the things that's gonna slow us down here, because you're always going to get some issues where things are just way too obnoxiously big and sluggish. And for instance, I can tell you that some of the videos I'm running in the scene are that kind of issue here. So what I'll end up doing is replacing them with something else. I'm just trying to grab my profile here, but what's going on? Okay, well, while that loads, let's go ahead and so just so everybody's familiar with, this is 2019.3.15 build. This is the last 0.3. I haven't tried this with 2020 yet. You do have to be pretty specific with the actual versions you use with Unity, so just something to note. Alright, so come on, profile, what the hell? It just literally, the window is just sitting there and doesn't let me touch it. It's driving me nuts. But I guess that's the downside to this. There we go. It just took like 2 minutes to actually load the profile window where I needed it to be. Okay, so this is just the profiler here. And if I play this, we can get a feel for what kind of stuff we're using. This is a gigantic dragonfly that you're going to have to catch. It's going to require a net. So just like we use that axe, you're going to take a butterfly net and you're going to catch dragonflies. And that's going to be one of the escape room tasks, is to find a specific thing. And so you can see how you can really have fun with building in ways in the digital space to walk around a real world, but like a video game, to do this kind of stuff. All right, and again, I just want to... I have to make sure that... Okay, so... Okay, so you actually can't even hear the desktop audio anyway, so... I just don't want it to get flagged from the broadcast. That's why I have to hide it. So I apologize for the delay here. But I can still show you what I'm trying to do. You also hear the people in the street talking. Okay, let's try this one more time. So I find the memory profiler is super useful, especially when you're working on mobile. It's basically what saved me in terms of building out Oasis Live on mobile. If I didn't have the memory profiler, I would have never known what was taking all the space that wouldn't run on the device. And when they came out with the iPhone 11 with the improved GPU, it all ran pretty smooth like butter. And so that was really the standard for me in terms of what I could use. And then now I'm taking a lot of the mobile stuff and bringing it over here, and comparatively it runs good. And now I'm trying to figure out how much I can really cram into this device. Okay, so there's not much here, and you can't really see much in the game view because it's stuck in a fixed position and you can't change it. So what we can just do is we can just come into this. Okay, so here's our level here. And again, if I just pause it right about this point, because we don't really have to play this, not to mention it has a hard time doing all that. I can look and see what's happening here. So things that we really care about are like it's all important, like this red thing here, whatever this is. You can come in, you can figure out what was it that was causing that spike, and then we can take it down. But for me, it's the memory right here. So, and then the CPU usage, obviously. And so you can get a feel for, again, this is just more for like stuff running at once. We got to get this down to more around 30 to 60 here. So you can see that this game is definitely not optimized, but it's simulating within this. So what I think we have to do is minimalize. A lot of this mesh isn't optimized. Like this boat right here is probably pretty heavy. And so that's something that's going to be the next phase, and that's not really what we're going to get into today. Let's just build out some more levels here. But that's the profiler, so that will tell you kind of what's going on here. So what I did earlier is I actually saved out different levels from my mobile version, the Oasis Live, the environments that we're going to bring into this today. So in front of me here, in my Island Escape, should be some, you know, it's actually in Magic Leap. They are. Okay, so we have a deep sea, and I guess I didn't import the Sky Island one yet. Let's just make sure though, because I thought I did. It actually might be. Just type in 2020. Okay, well we don't have that imported yet, so I'll import that real quick just to show you what that is. I hope I didn't delete that before I did it. Huh. Weird. Could have sworn I imported it last night. We may have to re-export that because it looks like I didn't save it out and I may have deleted the actual thing there. It's weird. Just double check. Sky Island. All right. Yeah, so unfortunately it looks like I just added one. So let's take a side track real quick just to do that because I actually want to do Sky Island first. So I will just save out this and we will open up our other Unity, and you can open them up at the same time, but because I'm doing all this broadcast stuff, I'd rather just kind of keep it simple and not a lot of strain on the computer here. Okay, so it's loading up our Unity build. I use Collaborate, which is a great tool for actually version control, and it's actually saved me a bunch of times. So when I add a simple script that overwrites and you can't really fix it. So whenever you add something new to your build, you got to make sure you back it up, obviously, but then Collaborate is another way to back it up. So I sometimes it's just super important. I'll update it, Collaborate, and I'll save it out as a copy. And at that point, I can be sure that anything I was doing isn't getting compromised or something like that. So here I just have, just open up my drive stuff. It's about a lot of terabytes of stuff in here. Because I'm interested in the apps. Escape. Okay, so I just started this one, so there's not much there. And then here, let's see. Organization's key when you're building out stuff like this, because you'll reuse assets. And all right, so this is the backup I made yesterday, so it's not in there. This is our build right here. Yeah, so unfortunately we're gonna have to re-export that out, but it's not a big deal. It only takes a couple of minutes, and I can show you how that works. I think it's almost done. Well, while that loads up, let's talk a little bit about this here. Might be on the screen too. So essentially, this is the icon you can download and use. And I think by clicking this, it's going to let me download it. So it downloads it here. Icon making use here. Come on, Unity, what the hell? So, blah, 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 blah. Yeah. Got it all. A lot of freaking restrictions. So, that's probably important because sometimes you have to save it out in older versions. All right, you gotta make sure it's the right axis. Okay, so they don't want you any. They basically, what I'm finding with a lot of objects in Magic Leap, they don't like just the shaders need to be very simple because it's illuminating something in real space. So I think it complicates it in the processing and everything. But if you add a bunch of stuff, so I do want to animate this portal, but I don't know how much work that's going to take here. Idle state, hover state, active state, menu state, loading state. I mean, we might as well do all 5. I mean, who just wants to do 1? That's lame. And they have to be at 60 frames a second. So that's something to think about too. The question is, what do we make for the game that isn't completed yet? So this is like how you lay down the timeline. So definitely complicated to make one of these little icons. It's not. I thought it'd be a lot as simple as just dropping in a 3D object into a folder and pointing it at it, but it kind of needs to know a lot about the icon to make it work, which is why I'll eventually do that there. But let's try to get our Unity open here. It's really annoying that it just won't open. What's going on? Alright, well, I'm kind of at the mercy to when that feels like opening for us. Is probably just thinking about everything it has to collect, along with dealing with all the cache issues there and all the other stuff going on. But it will eventually open. Unless I didn't actually click it right. I thought I clicked it. And it's definitely open, it's just frozen. There we go. So when you think it's frozen, it just needs to do some thinking. So that's our master build opening up right now. Okay, so yeah, I did export it, which is why it's weird it didn't save out. Alright, so we'll let this do its thing. It has to, Collaborate does have to load it up, so it's a little bit of a waiting game here. This critical update is old. I don't think that is relevant anymore. I don't think so, at least. April 20, yep. Okay, so we'll let that do its thing. And it should be ready in a second. Yeah, let's see, it's still collaborating. It's still trying to process this little thing right here. All this just to export out something. But you see the hierarchy in my mobile version here is a lot more organized, but it has a lot more stuff integrated with it. So come on, baby. Come on, baby. It's weird as I thought I saved it before I flew out. be saved somewhere else, huh? Alright, so that's just the prefab. This is the Magic Leap tools. These are the ones I was using in terms of the well, the stuff I was showing you, the interaction. And it's a motorcycle behind me, or some kind of GoPed. So, I don't know what he's doing. He's showing off his two-stroke. Actually sounds like a GoPed. Or like a little moped. Okay, so my apologies for sitting here waiting for this to load. It's annoyingly slow right now because of what we're doing. The broadcast, I'm guessing. It just, or maybe my MacBook's getting a little bit warm. But once we get this open, I can export my Sky Island and we can get going. This is kind of why I need to get a faster, newer laptop. I really want to do this on a laptop so I don't have to be restricted to the same place. Come on. So stupid. Alright, well, we're not getting anywhere with this, so what we'll do is I'll upload the other one, I'll take a break, and I'll fix that, and I'll come back and just have it ready. So let's go ahead and open this back up. That shouldn't have an issue. It's a lot smaller of a project. Also might be because newer version of Unity actually doesn't crap out. So you see this one's a lot quicker. So it's probably actually not even the Unity, it's just the computer. Because it's just slow too. Everything's just slow. Slow! It's so slow, I hate it. No more locked doors. No more locked doors. What's that from? It's from next Friday. Okay, we're in. We're in, and we're gonna load the level now. For some reason here it gets stuck. So this is what the other one was trying to do. I was trying to check for changes and just never did. I just had to, because the other project was 70 gigs, and that's why it was taking so long. I was just sitting there reading all the manifest of the items before I could check it. And so, because I'm broadcasting, it's a lot slower. Usually it takes maybe like a minute. But yeah, something to learn, something to know, something to think about. Let's put on some jams. Excellent excellent connection, huh? Alright, so I don't know if this music's going to get flagged on YouTube. We'll find out. Okay, so it looks like we actually have working stuff again. Okay, so now that we are ready to go there, right when I said that, my battery just died on me. Okay. So let's go ahead and just import this here. And to do that, I'm going to go to my assets. And I have mine saved in just a Magic Leap folder. It's kind of just something I know. It's from exporting from the other one. I just keep the same name. So I wouldn't recommend just dropping this whole thing into the level if you don't know what's in the package, because you can add a lot of issues to your scene there. But what I'll do is I'll just add it in there, and hopefully this can handle all the stuff I'm throwing at it. And so this is our underground or under the water scene here that we had, along with we have a few other things we got to clean up. And I definitely think we should put this in a new level though. Just because it'll be a lot easier and cleaner to move around. Okay, so let's do that. Let's file, build settings, and I'm just going to copy this Sky Island one I have here. For my main copy, I'll just duplicate it. The reason I want to duplicate that is that has all the settings and parameters I need in like the scale, and I can just replace the mesh with a new mesh. It's very straightforward. And assume there's no scripts in there to mess it up. Shouldn't be an issue. So with this one, we'll just call this one Deep Sea. Okay. Just go ahead and just drop that in there. And we'll open that. We don't need to save anything here. Okay, so this is where I'm just going to delete. I don't really think I need any of this, to be honest. You definitely don't need the start kiosk here, because that's just the same thing. I'll just hold on to this for a second, because this will give me like orientation and scale factor and all the stuff I need. So Magic Leap, they are, one more time, let's do it. And that would be this one we want. Okay, so we'll delete a lot of the stuff we don't need. So we don't need, oh, you also have to unpack this. Okay, so we don't need the quest giver here. Although, I do have the system built in this, the inventory system. And so maybe that will be relevant, so I'll hold on to that. We don't want this because it's a missing prefab. I don't know what this bubble's coming from, but that's obviously missing a material. Okay, so now we actually are down to the guts of the level here. So what's I'm hoping is going to happen, depending on what kind of it's a Leoplerodon, if you were interested in knowing what that's called. Okay, so first things, let's just save this real quick. Okay, and I just want to check to make sure that we're not missing any layers. And one thing I'm noticing is that I had a bunch of tropical fish in here, I thought, that I'm not seeing. And so I'm wondering what's going on with that. Okay, so those instant boundaries are actually intact. So when you import stuff, depending on what you import and what you don't, you may get like something that represents it, but you may not actually get the actual mesh. So we're gonna go through here real quick. Tools I don't need. This is for AR kit. That's not related. Quest givers we talked about. Let me see what this thing shows up. Yeah, all right. So that's something that has triggers inputs, and that's interesting. So maybe we'll just go ahead and just add you guys all in here, and just turn you off for now. Collectible. This is where we're going to be missing stuff. So where are the fish that I'm looking for here? So it's missing the essence. Okay, but it doesn't seem to be missing. That's weird. Maybe this is a different version. Or maybe for some reason I took them out. But if I open up, and I'll just share this with you real quick. Oh wait, no, I can't. It's like a third or fourth level in. I was gonna play the app and show you the level I'm talking about, but it's gonna take too long to get to. I'm gonna have to play like 4 levels to show you the deep sea level, which I don't know if you guys want to watch me play that app. Well, anyways, there's a bunch of what I thought were swimming fish here, tropical fish, that I'm guessing I didn't import because they weren't saved here. They must have been saved in a different place, which unfortunately means I'm going to go back into the master build and figure out where they're saved and export them separately. But what's cool is you do get, like, when you import stuff like this, you get like random stuff that you didn't mean to import. Like, well, I guess I meant to import this because in the level, but now we have a gem we can use in this game. And that will probably look pretty good in mixed reality, like if you put that floating around somewhere. So that's like a cool item we can use now for our magic leap. And so all this stuff we can use, assuming there's no major errors here, and assuming I can play this right now, we can use all this and I'll just port to the magic leap. And I'll prove that because what I'll do now is I will build this out directly to the magic leap. And see if we have any issues and see if we can do this without playing with it. So let's do that, because that's very magically related, and after all, that was the title of my stream, not figure out how to get Unity to work in this crazy situation we're in here. So once the computer decides it wants to respond to me, I will show you this. Here. Okay, so you can't see anything because it's keying out the background, so I think that's normal. I want to see what happens with... Okay, so you can see we have some issues where the texture for the bubbles I created like bubbles coming there is missing, so we'll have to find a texture because I want to keep that. God, it's just so stressful every time this thing freezes up. And unfortunately, these aren't using the same animations as the other level. They're using... I can find it. It's also weird there's a dragonfly in this level. Oh, the dragonfly's working. It's one of those underwater dragonflies. But... Oh, that's because he was in the other one, that's why. So we won't keep him for now. We'll ditch that guy. So I really have to go through this stuff at some point and figure out how important it is for the level here. Like, here are some coins. I mean, I really didn't have any interest in bringing any of this stuff in other than the sea-related things. But there's not that much stuff. And then in the non-collectibles, I don't know if this stuff's actually appearing. This is why you got to kind of test it out in play mode. You got to see what stuff actually has showing up here. Like I said, our bubbles, we're having issues where the bubbles were missing some kind of material here, and you can see we're missing the material. So sometimes it's easy just... Obviously, that's not the material, but if you can find something related, you can just plug it in. So, a bubble. Okay, so there's a bubble particle. See what that looks like. Well, that's probably not the one I was using. And maybe it is. I don't. But if it was, it would just be working there. So I don't think it was. But if I click on them. Now they're floating around like bubbles, so we have our bubbles fixed there, which is good. And I don't like how there's no lighting here, but they specifically don't want you to use it. They want you to use, and I'll show you this now, Magic Leap ramp texture, and that's just going to create. So Unity projects shadows and there's black spots, and this just basically flattens out. It's basically just making it a more simple shader. So standard has a bunch of different things, right? And that's a very complex shader. You don't want to have to process all that. So this just basically simplifies it. So the downside of that is there's less detail. There are some things you don't want to use it for if you're looking for detail, but if you have a really good texture, then you can get away with using it. Because if you look at like the stuff they use, so you can see the difference in that it just basically flattens it out. It just doesn't give it the lighting that you get from an actual screen. But that's because the Magic Leap itself is just it complicates the processing for it if you have all this extra shader information. So it probably is in anybody's best interest is to use it what they're telling you to use. And so here you can see once I do that, I can just kind of like tweak it a little bit. This is all coming directly from the mobile game, so I probably won't want to change it around too much as I'm trying to make a uniform build. But this is more of a different escape room feel versus creating an actual adventure game there. So see, you have a little starfish right here. And the next step I'm doing once we get all these these levels input is we're going to start bringing in all the NPCs again to bring it to life, which is why I was hoping these fish would come into play. So one thing I can do to see if they actually got imported though is I can go into my master assets here and I can go to my characters, which I think they'd be in there, and I can look at my assorted models and I can see which ones I imported, and it does look like I imported every single one. So the question I have is, those are 100 prefabs right there. So the question is, where are they in the underpacks? So that's the downside to when you install these packs, is that sometimes you don't get everything you expected to. So here we have a really cool fish, and it's got a swim attached to it, and I kind of just want to go into its own little. See if that opens up its own scene here. I think if I double click it, oh, nope, didn't. It opened up Adobe Dimensions, which is not what I wanted. Okay, so we'll just go ahead and just play this scene. So this is probably a fish I'll add actually into it because it's a really good looking fish model. And so some of these got imported. And that actually looks like it's a yellow tang. This looks like a cichlid, if you ask me, but it might actually be a fresh saltwater fish. Cichlids are brackish fish, but I could be mistaken that for something else. A lot of good-looking fish here, and so I'm not going to bring these in and animate them. It's something from another. Some of the stuff I have to clean up because that is definitely not something we're going to use here. But we want to fix the animations in the sharks, and I'll do that before I import the other level. Same with the squid, the giant squid. Who knows if we use all this stuff, but it should be in the background as like a stimulant, I want to say, a visual stimulant. I think a good way to do this is the area of engagement is only going to be like this area, and everything else is going to be in the background as like and then there's going to be stuff in the far off distance. And so the other level is a lot bigger than this one. You can see this one's a little bit more reasonably scaled out, I think. But the only way we're going to find that out is if we build out the sequence here. So I'll do that. Let's just go ahead and we can just minimize that. I can make sure the lumens is ready to go. This is where I wish I had different headphones on so I can hear. Okay. And let's just start building this out and see what happens. So you can see it's building out pretty quickly. And I'm not sure if it's going to actually work because there could be stuff in this scene that are going to stop it from working. I just know that in the previous scene it actually would work. Specifically these quest items, I'm not sure if these are going to actually work here. There we go. Another thing I always forget is that there's like a standby mode on your Magic Leap, and it's different than the power button. And so I forget that. Sometimes I just put it on standby. Alright, so it should be working. I'll let that sync up. I'm going to let this build out. I'm going to take a 5-minute break, and then when I actually have it built out to the device, I will stream it, I'll share it, and I'll record it at some point. So I'm going to take a 10-minute break here, and I'll be right back. So this is Nate Miller from DigiFX. I'll see you shortly. like it's about done. Just trying to see if I can. I want to show you how I kind of cheat from importing stuff. I just drop folders directly in. I want to get all those fish that I was talking about imported correctly into the project. So I'm gonna just use the drop in the back end, and that way I don't have to worry about importing it and screwing stuff up and messing up. So what I do, well, that's almost done. See how it's about to be done. So we'll just let that build, and hopefully that works out this time. So I'll go directly into my Oasis, and I could probably do this with the actual environment like I was trying to import before, but I don't necessarily want to. I don't know where everything's saved. The environments can you kind of pull stuff from a bunch of different folders, so it's better to build it out and then organize it afterwards when you're importing new places. That way you don't lose stuff like I'm kind of losing stuff now. So we're going to go on our master build here, and this is the original Oasis. A lot more stuff in here, as you can see. And I go to my master assets, and I go into my characters here. Remember, we were looking before at the underwater pack. Here we have more than just the materials. So this is really, in the animals, I just want boom, 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 and boom. I want these five, right? These five bad boys. So again, I'll just kind of like cheat a little bit here, and I'll just pretend like I imported them before. Go on the original one here. Island Escape. Wait, no, what's going on here? See, this is where I get confused. When you're working with like terabytes and terabytes of stuff and like projects, you just get so confused with renaming stuff and what goes where. So everything in my life is cloud down. Everything's cloud-based, and I work locally, and I just save it to the cloud. And I do save locally when I'm working in real time, but I usually try to line it to where it's accessible anywhere. So stuff like that does break a lot of stuff. So with the broadcast stuff, if you save it on the cloud and then you open it at different computers, obviously the username of the computer is going to change the file path, and it's going to break the paths. With web, that's a problem. With a lot of like After Effects, there's a lot of issues with texture. So anything where you're going to move around that way, that's not the way you want to do it. You want to save everything locally and load it the same place every time. But when you're accessing stuff like that is independent as a file, like maybe like a PSD, it's the best way to do it. And then you don't have to worry about it. And even if you delete it, it just gets saved. But anyways, so this is where our underwater pack was, right? And so we have our animals, but we just need to get a little bit more information here. So we don't have the prefab. That's the one that we really, really wanted. So I'll just go ahead and copy and I'll paste that in. And then that shouldn't give us too much problems. Let's replace everything. So it's a lot faster this way. Even though Unity has to read it when you import it again, it just, whenever you do it directly with this system, it just works better. Hopefully that won't mess up our build though. I think the first time you build new assets, it takes a little bit longer. So everything seems to be playing okay, so we can put some music back on. There we go. Okay, so I'm gonna let that build, and let's do a little bit more exploring. So we're in here. Okay, which one's which? So this is the magic leap, and then this is the master. Alright. Okay, so again, once I get this finished building and I open up Unity, I'll be able to just update and sync a lot of these files that we're going to bring in and build with. And I'm just going to use stuff I already know I want that's related to different levels. So I'm mostly thinking about NPCs and stuff that is animated. I can just have create liveliness and action within the scene. And one thing I haven't thought about is what I'm doing is a very basic implementation of all the animation in the level. I think the next level or the next the engagement of like a lot of this stuff, the apps that Magic Leap has, there's feedback on the hand where they'll track the hand and stuff, and that's the next step for me. But in terms of what I'm doing now, I'm just trying to get everything in there, get it placed, get it moving around, doing something, and then I'll add all the fun dynamics that make it special and really wow factor. If I can get there, if I can get it running to that level. So with that being said, I'm going to stick to the things I know well, that have really good animations and they're meant for this kind of stuff, and import those. So these are the ones that imported pretty good, so I probably don't need those. The other thing I do want, there's this giant plant that I have. I don't know how loud this is. The giant plant, though. Come on, build. So it was cool also that I'm plugged in. I also have the ability to hear audio through my Magic Leap. But I'm going to keep it within the, I have it stream system audio. This is going through my OBS system to where I can control it all through this mic right here. It's a better way to do it. So it actually might be frozen. There's usually, about this point, it will be starting to build out. And I just put the headset on to make sure that the Magic Leap isn't in sleep mode, because sometimes it won't build to it in sleep mode. So there's a lot of things you got to think about when building out to the device, but it usually does work pretty seamlessly. Could be just confused because I built a new build. I feel like I'm just not being patient, but usually it doesn't take this long. I'm gonna give it a few more minutes to figure this shit out. So here there's also a, I don't know what that plant's called though. It's this giant plant I use in the sky level. Oh, it's probably this one. Carnivorous plant. Looks right. There's also a butterfly there we can use, but I don't think I need that. Okay, so I'm just making sure these are duplicates. I gotta make sure I'm going to the right one. So yeah, that's right. There we go. See? Patience is a virtue, isn't it? Well, that should have built a lot faster than it did. But also the Unity probably just was frozen because I was doing something else. So when it packages, I'm going to try two ways to share this in the live stream. I'm going to try to record it first and then upload it to YouTube through the Magic Leap and then share that on the screen here. I think that's the better way to do it because it's going to be less strain in the live stream. And we can try streaming through the Magic Leap Live, but I think with my setup, I do think I am limited to what I can do here versus a PowerPC. Okay, so it says we're beginning tasks, so let's go ahead and just make sure we see if I can see it. All right, we are in, my friends. We are in. Okay, great. So we successfully got the level added in. So let's see if I can share that with you right now. Right. Let me try recording. So it's not that glorious because I haven't done anything with it. But the fact we got all the mesh in there is a good thing. So there's some issues with the lighting. But okay, so now I'm recording in video, so it's not going to look the best, but at least you'll get a feel for what we can do. And so what I'll just start doing now is start adding stuff onto this scene, and then we'll add a script to actually get it saved and going here. So I know what I can do now is now that I'm done recording, I can say that, and I can say open. And I can open it with a gallery, and I can upload this to YouTube, my YouTube channel, and share it. I'll try streaming too. That seems to be working. Everything seems to be playing good now. So now I'm recording in video, so it's not going to look the best, but at least you'll get a feel for listen to myself talk. So what I'll just start doing now is adding stuff onto this. Nobody likes listening to himself talk, do they? Hopefully I don't sound that annoying. Well, anyways, so you can see we got the level. But just to show you what you can see, so you can see on the screen here. So in this, now that I have this video saved, I can just upload it to my YouTube here. And I'll do it. This is a private video. It's not something I'll just launch, but this is the same video that, I wonder if I could talk this in. This is, I could say deep sea level. There we go. I can confirm it, and I'm uploading that now. So it looks like as long as I do one thing at a time, I can share all this with you guys, which is fun. I just have to get better at doing this all so we don't wait around. So I want to do the same thing with the other level, but what I really want to do is get some cool stuff in here. So I know the Magic Leap is fun playing around with, but really there just needs to be some heavy dev and scripting and asset management right now to make this something cool. So let's go ahead and put this down for a second and focus more on making these environments work together. And so I'll just go ahead and pause this. We'll exit the device stream. And I'll even just put that on its standby mode. Alright, make sure lighting is working good now. Okay, so back in Unity itself, we had this level. Let's go ahead and let's try one more time to go get the Sky Island one. I think it'll work better now. But you can see now that I'm in Unity, it's now uploading and adding the fish that we added earlier. So I should be able to have that stuff just dropped in here. And one thing I do have to do is take the scripts I'm using the other level and bring them into this level again so that these fish move around and wander randomly. So that's doing that. And okay. Bring that down a little bit. Okay, so I do want to mess with Epic a little bit, but before we get into the Epic stuff, I want to mess around with and try to get an icon in here real quick. So that's all in terms of the agenda for the day. I'm going to be streaming for a few hours this evening, so probably spend a couple more hours here, and then later on tonight, like around 8, I'll probably jump on Epic stuff for a few hours. And so that's my agenda if anybody's interested when they're panning through this. In the future, I'll try to edit some of those slow spots out where nothing was really happening with us and the computer was giving us problems. But it's just kind of what we have to deal with in the situation here. So these are almost done uploading. This is just the fish that we had here. And so here's the program we use for portal icon. It's called the Lumen's Runtime Editor Tool, Lumen's Editor Tool right here. So just want to make sure we go. I'm going to call this Oasis Island Escape. And I guess I can't be I forgot it can't have spaces. Oh, maybe. So I think I already saved one here, so I'll just save it in here. I'll create that. So this is going to be our icon project. Depending on how hard or easy it is to get this going, I would like to get something updated in the project today, but it's really hard to know because I've never done it really before. Okay, so we do have some, looks like some issues with some stuff here. See if we can clear these out, but nothing that seems to be too problemful for us. So I'll hold off on getting these 3 levels synced up, and adding these fish, and I'll work on just getting that other level in here real quick. So we can go ahead and just exit out of Unity now, for now, and I'll save this, and then we're going to try one more time to import and just get the other one level in there, because I do have to do that. So some of the cool tools I want to check out, room generator, all these things we can play around with. Profile is similar to what I was talking about with Unity, where it's just measuring the different stuff that you're using. Okay. So let's hope that this wants to open up our build here. There we go. Portfolio site. Okay. Just have to check to make sure all the SSL's working correctly here. Okay, that's cool. Alright, well, I know I'm not talking much and doing much, but I'm just kind of waiting for Unity to open up, so it's going to be a little bit downtime for the next 10-15 minutes probably. Yeah, I have to import this, get the levels going, and then once I do that, I can build it out to the Magic Leap and focus on building the interactions and the scripts that we're using here. So why don't I take another quick break, and then when I can get this, when I can get this stuff ready to go, then I'll come back. So just hang in there. I'll keep the stream going though.